Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity Orlando. Our opening statement this morning is, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. Let's all affirm that together. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. All right, let's all close our eyes and take a nice deep breath in. Let's affirm that together in the silence. And so it is. And we have a chant for you this morning, so please stand and help us sing our joy song this morning. It's called Spirit Invitation. Spirit, see through me now, hear through me now, and speak through me. Spirit, be with me now, be right here now, and comfort me. Spirit, be in this place, be in my space, and comfort me. Spirit, feel through me now. I feel you now. We are one. Spirit, see through me now. Hear through me now. And speak through me. Spirit, be with me now. Be right here now and comfort me. Spirit, be in this place, be in my space and comfort me. Spirit, feel through me now. I feel you now. We are one. Be right here now and comfort me. Be right here now. We are one. All right, thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning, Unity Orlando. How's everybody doing today? Good to see your beautiful faces in person and online on this very chilly morning. I'm Susan Francis. I'm your platform speaker. I know we don't have any visitors. I recognize each and every one of you. Just a couple announcements. Prayer chaplains are available to pray after service, so see one of us. Paul and myself are prayer chaplains. We'll be more than happy to pray with you if you need prayer. Also remember, we pray every evening at 8 p.m. Join us if you can. And if you're online and need prayer, send us an email or give Linda a call and she'll pass it on to the chaplains. Today is our annual meeting and potluck after second service, so please join us. Those who are here, come back later. We have nice food and we have our annual meeting. And bring a dish if you'd like as well. Reverend Bob's lesson today is A Stranger in a Strange Land. Sounds very intriguing. But before I turn it over to Brian, I have a little story to tell you. There was a new pastor, and he was visiting some of the homes of his parishioners. And at one home, it seemed obvious that someone was home, but no answer came as he knocked on the door over and over. So he took out a card and he wrote on the card, Revelation 3, verse 20, on the back and stuck it on the door. I guess it was his business card on the front. And so when the offering was processed the following Sunday at church, he found that his card had been returned. And added was a cryptic message that said Genesis 3, verse 10. So reaching for his Bible, he checked out the citation and he broke out with laughter because Revelation 3 verse 20 says, it begins, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." So that's what the minister wrote. And Genesis 3:10 reads, "I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid, for I was naked." And that's why he didn't answer the door. It's in the Bible. That's right. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Brian.
All right. That was sweet.
Yeah, there you go.
Very nice. Here's a song. Has sort of, to me, it feels like a Native American sort of melody. It's called Soul Rises Higher. Send myself into a dream, a super special place it seems, full of light and sentient beings, full of wonderful good things. And then I rise into a stating all that's right. Down in my soul it rises high. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Now in my life I'm in the flow. Spirit winds begin to blow, trusting the universe to know just when I need to let it go. And then I rise into a light. It moved me forward in my life. Send me cascading and all that's right. Down in my soul it rises high. Cascading and all that's right. Down in my soul it rises high. Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, that was wonderful. And yeah, I think it's a great way to start this service. You saw me singing back there. Just proves I like it. How is everyone this morning? All of you who are here and braving the fact that somebody turned off our heat. We can't figure out who did it, but somebody hit the thermostats and they were off this morning. So we now have it warmed up to 60 degrees in the sanctuary. Now you at home, you're sitting there with your coffee in your warm house, your bathrobe, feeling really great, and we're jealous. I'm going to venture a really strange prophecy, which is more hope than anything. Maybe we've seen the last of winter. Maybe winter's taken a turn. We may have seen the coldest. Maybe it's behind us. That would be really nice. I need to get started. Patty asked me, do you like your talk this week or not? And I said, I won't know until after I give it. The title is Stranger in a Strange Land, and I'll explain that in just a minute. We usually look at spirituality from our human self. How spiritual awakening can improve my human life. Today I want to try to switch gears and do something that's probably impossible, and that is to look at this life through soul eyes, from soul perspective. So, this talk comes and begins with the disclaimer. Today we're going off-road. If you hear anything you don't like, don't blame Unity. This is pure Bob. This is my attempt to put together an understanding, and I've reached it by all the different little subtle experiences I've had along the way. Therefore, it may meander all over the place. And bluntly, I don't claim that everything I say is right. It's just the best I can do right now, okay? So let's start with the title. Stranger in a Strange Land. One of my favorite books. Stranger in a Strange Land was first published in 1961. It was science fiction by Robert Heinlein. He wrote a lot of science fiction. He wrote one masterpiece. And even the critics say this was the masterpiece. Stranger in a Strange Land. And I believe the thing that made it such a masterpiece was that it embodied a number of amazing spiritual principles as it wove its story. Well, Stranger in a Strange Land is a story of a young man who grew up on Mars. There was the first expedition to Mars, and there were a few people in it, male and female, and he was born on Mars. The problem was, back on Earth, they did what we do all the time. They had wars, they had problems. They didn't send another expedition for 20 years. And the first expedition had discovered there actually were Martians there. They were strange, but they were there. And by the second expedition, they arrived, they found out that all the first people had died except the baby that was born, and the Martians had raised him. So he was raised in a Martian culture. Now, what no one realized was that they had amazing abilities that we as humans had not tapped into yet. So he was raised with these almost superhuman abilities that are inside of all of us, but Martians, being an advanced culture, an old culture, had brought it out in him. Okay, so 20 years ago, they arrive, they find there's still one there, and he's this young guy who's grown up there, and they bring him home. Now, this is a stranger in a strange land, because he comes to the earth. He is a human being, but he comes as not realizing it, and no one around seems to realize it either. He is possibly the most powerful being on the planet at this point because of the way he was raised. And yet, though he's human, he comes and he's trying to absorb what human culture is really all about. And so he very much feels like a stranger in a strange land. Now, the reason I titled this talk that is because when soul comes into the alien physical realm, I've got to believe it feels like a stranger in a strange land, trying to adjust to all the restrictions, all the boundaries, all the can and can'ts, all the weird stuff that is earth life. Because this is not the higher realms from which the soul came. Now I'm going to switch gears and go forward to the year 1984 when a rather cheesy movie came out called Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah, I thought that would get a laugh. It's a fun romp, but the reason it sticks in my memory is because something that happened right near the end of the movie. The head nerd, I don't even remember what his name was, is down, and he's got a microphone, and they're in this amphitheater type thing, like where you have the football games. What's that called? Stadium. He's in the stadium type place. And he's said, listen, yes, we're nerds, but that just means we don't quite fit in. And then he says something. He says, how many of you up there in the stands don't really feel like you entirely belong? How many feel like you don't really quite fit in and like you're not actually as cool as you pretend to be? And of course, that's the moment at which one by one they start coming out of the stands down into the field, and everybody comes down, and Joy says, come down and join me if you feel that way. And everybody comes down and joins. And the reason I bring this up is because this strikes a chord. Because we all, every single one of us, have that haunting feeling that we don't entirely fit in. That we're not quite as comfortable with the challenges of this life as we wish we were. Pretty much like we're a stranger in a strange land. Everyone, underneath their bravado and their ego pride, kind of feels like we've been dropped off in the wrong place, right? Like we don't really belong here. Something's not quite right. And we feel that way because it isn't quite right. We don't belong here. We don't fit into this world entirely because we're not from here. You are this human self, but you also are a soul on a journey through the earth. And earth is the work we have to do as a soul. But this is not home, and we know it. In John 17, 15, 16, and 18, Jesus said in his prayer, Father, protect my disciples from evil, for they are not of this world. Get that straight. They are not of this world, just as I am not of this world. Just as thou didst send me into the world, so I send them into the world. So our job is to walk through this world. But as souls, we need to understand we are in this world. We are not of it. This isn't home. John 6:38, Jesus said, I came down from heaven, not merely to do my own will, but to do the will of him who sent me. Number one, he came down from heaven. Okay, we all come out of the higher realms. And we come here as souls with a purpose. As human beings, we try to isolate what that purpose is. But I got to tell you, I'm not sure you can entirely understand the purpose of your soul in a human intellect. It's a whole different realm. So here's my best shot. Our souls came here to explore all the possibilities in a realm filled with darkness. Look around you. This world seems to have a lot of darkness. Our soul came here to bring the realization of God's presence even into the darkness. Our soul came to carry an awareness of God's presence into some of the darkest places that earth has to offer. We're here to reinforce light, love, and joy in human consciousness, the consciousness that pervades the planet. That's our soul assignment. Your human assignment is to make the best life you can, right? But your soul assignment is to support the realization of the presence of God, to radiate that into the thought atmosphere, and to radiate light, love, and joy. And when our human self embraces light, love, and joy, we harmonize with our soul's purpose, and our contribution becomes stronger. Now, let's talk about home. Our home is the higher realms. We came from there. We will return there. If you don't believe me, just go into meditation and take as your affirmation, repeat it over and over, home. Call out, home. Home. I remember when I was in my 20s and I had my family and I was trying to figure out where on earth, where in this country I could still find a place that felt like home, because home had changed. And in the end, I finally figured out, though there were places that were a little more primitive than where I had been, that had changed, it's not there anymore. Where I grew up no longer exists anywhere. And then I realized, but that's not really home. Home. There's a feeling to that word. If you spend time calling out, you'll feel the yearning of your soul for the higher realms and all the goodness that surrounds us in that higher realms. And that's home. Now, skip gears slightly. Don't make the mistake of imagining the heavens in the image of the earth. Humans love to do that. They want to make God in man's image and heaven in earth's image, right? Dead wrong. Goes the other way around. You see, heaven is not a place with streets paved with gold. I mean, my God, you fall down and you hurt your knee. I want my streets paved with memory foam. So I never actually get hurt. But that isn't it either. The higher realms, they're not like it is here. The higher realms are unlimited. There is no lack. There is no fear. There is no agony. And the higher realms are unlimited, with none of the restraints that we experience here. Earth is all about boundaries. You can't do this, you can't do that. The higher realms are when the boundaries all fall away. So please don't put the restrictions of earth on the higher realms. In Matthew 22:30, we have a situation in which the Sadducees thought they would trap Jesus. They thought, we'll give him a question he can't answer. So they created this imaginary scenario in which there were 7 brothers, and the first one married a wife, and then he died. And so the second one married the wife, and then he died. And the third one married the wife, and then he died. You got to be worried about this woman. But in any case, according to their story, all 7 brothers finally died, and then finally the wife died. So here's the big mind twister. In the resurrection, they say, who gets her? Who gets her? Which brother gets her? And his answer basically clarifies that you need to not image the heavens in earthly terms. All restrictions are off. He says, at the resurrection of the dead, men neither marry women, nor are women given to men in marriage, but they are like the angels of God in heaven. The angels are unlimited. He went, oh, so I lose that closeness I had with my mate in this life. You don't lose anything. That's all still there. But the restrictions come off, and that means you can experience a whole lot more as well. All the love and specialness you had in your relationship here on the earth. And then it expands in the higher realms. Physical limits don't apply. Heaven won't look like the earth. So don't try to say, oh, well, there'll be green pastures. That's just an analogy to try to give us a feeling. The truth is, it'll be more than you can imagine. So don't hem it in. And that, the higher realms, that unlimited realm, that's what your soul inside of you literally longs for all of its life. What's it longing for? Try to imagine a realm where everyone shares consciousness. You totally merge with people. You know exactly what they think and how they feel. You share it and cherish it. And you don't do it with just one person. You can do it with everyone. So in the end, you are surrounded in a realm with no lack, no pain. In the higher realms, you are absolutely surrounded by the warmth of goodness. in a realm where everyone totally accepts everyone else and celebrates everyone's success. In a realm where there's no need for secrets. In fact, you couldn't keep them if you wanted to. There's absolutely no need for competition. That's the best I can do on the higher realms for you right now. It's more a set of feelings than an actual vision. There is so much good in the higher realms, you cannot imagine it all. Well, as human beings, when we start to awaken spiritually, we may seek to uncover our soul while we're still in the earth. And when we do that, when you seek soul awakening, awakening to that majesty at the center of my being, when you seek to awaken to that, you also awaken a dual sense of self. You kind of have two sides, two beings. They are you. Both are you. But one is the personal self in this life, with all my agenda. And the other, then, is the eternal soul that's inside of me. The part of me that was before I came into this earth and will be long after I leave it. The outer self that thinks it's running this life, and the inner soul, which really is in charge of everything that counts. So, if you want to learn to touch your soul, reach within toward the awe-inspiring majesty that is in there. We spend our lives trying to be important. I hate to tell you, you are never going to achieve it. But there is something inside of you, your soul, that has an importance you could never even aspire to. And it is you. That's the hardest thing to realize. This is actually me. So eventually, if you reach within, you'll feel that majesty within you. It'll be awe-inspiring, and that is your soul. So when you awaken to the majesty within, just warning you, it will dwarf your outer self, filling the personal self with absolute humility. You realize this is nothing compared to what lives inside of me, the eternal part of my being. In 1 John 4:4, he writes, this is John's letter, "You are of God, and he who is within you is greater than he who is in the world." Your soul is greater than the human self because it's just a temporal construct. This is a temporal construct. This personality will pass away, I'm quite sure. It's kind of tied to this time in life. In Colossians 1:27, Paul writes, "The mystery which is Christ in you, your hope of glory." The mystery that's hidden for ages, he says, the mystery which is Christ in you, your hope of glory. The soul is directly connected to the Christ light, that light of life. That's where the light of God is inside of you. It's in your soul. So, strive to feel the majesty within you. And the failings of the outer being will not seem so important. You are the host of something that is stupendous. I've often said that after I encountered my higher self, number one, it was devastating to the outer self. Because suddenly you realize everything you thought was important just plain isn't. But it gave me an interesting, wonderful gift, and that is that I don't have to defend Bob to the world. We think that's our job, to defend ourselves to the world. Bob's just a stupid human being. But I will never apologize for what is inside of me. Bob is nothing. But my soul, wow. That's stupendous. And once you attach your self-esteem to your soul, instead of your flawed personal self, you're on solid ground. So, reach inward to embrace the feelings of majesty. Surrender your temporal life to your eternal being that lives within you. This eternal being whose purpose lies beyond this little one temporal life. It kind of puts things in perspective. And whose work is beyond the understanding of your human intellect. At least my experience so far is you're probably not going to entirely get it. You can sense it. But your human intellect isn't going to entirely grasp what your soul's doing here. On the other hand, dual sense of self, right? Excuse me. Strive to set up a partnership between your lower self and your soul. This human self. I got to live this life. I can live it a whole lot better if I can set up a partnership with my soul instead of just ignoring it and pretending it's not there. So ask your higher self to take over. Ask for help. It's probably not the highest priority on its list. It's got some major spiritual work to do, but both the soul and the human personality, both are you. The human self is temporary. It's restricted to this period of life. And your soul's eternal, with its own agenda beyond the grasp of your human self. So they kind of see things very differently. Soul came to fulfill a higher purpose than you understand. And it's been doing so since your birth. You don't grow a soul up. It came in, a perfect eternal being of God. So you got to understand, the comfort of your earthly life is not the most important thing to your soul. but it will help when asked. After all, you're part of it. Maybe a relatively minor part, but you are a part of it in this little temporal phase that we're in. So ask. Once lower self encounters soul self, it's so awestruck by it that the personal self becomes absolutely humble and wants only to serve the greater part of self, the soul, in any way that it can. Just let me be part. I think my exact words were, just let me be the pencil sharpener for my soul. Though we want to serve soul, but we're also extremely grateful for the soul interference we're requesting. We're saying, I need some help here, please. And when things happen, we're extremely grateful. Now, I'm going to switch gears entirely. I want to look at being born into earth life from soul perspective. Remember I said it's probably a bit of a jolt? We, as human beings, celebrate birth and mourn death. For soul, it's kind of the opposite. Birth is a leap and a bit of a shock, while death is just going home after a hard day's work and looked forward to. So let's imagine, as best I can, soul coming out of the higher realms. Soul coming out of a realm where you merge with everyone. You merge with their mind, their heart, all that's going on inside of them. When you love, you don't just love them, you become part of them. And you're surrounded by all this light and love and joy in the higher realms. It is tremendous goodness. It's warmth. It's total acceptance. And it's unlimited. To do something you have only to think, you're there. You can create out of nothing. It is such an unlimited existence that even my description falls tremendously short. But you've chosen to serve. You're going to go have an adventure in the earth and serve God presence by doing so. So in you go. You leave the comfort of oneness with everyone, and you're born into separation. You're in a body. I'm here, you're there. You're in the body you're born into doesn't even work right yet. You got to grow it up. It's a baby. You're flailing, going, oh, come on now. I'm not even used to having the restriction of body, and this one doesn't work. Why'd I get the broke one? You know. Oh, well. But you came here to serve. So the soul sets about doing exactly that. You're filled with the excitement of the adventure you're on, because this is an adventure. But coming into all this restriction, you definitely feel like a stranger in a strange land. That's what I imagine anyway. This human body and this human mind are your host, the vehicle carrying you through this life. They are a temporary expression of yourself. But here you've come in, you're there in the center of them, and they are paying you no attention. They don't even seem to know you're there. They think they're the whole show. So you, the soul, go ahead and begin your work. You don't really need them to do that. You need them to carry you through this life, to carry you into the places of darkness where you can shine your light. So you begin your work knowing this personality is relatively oblivious to your presence within. But this personality is pretty innocuous. It doesn't really have the power to get in your way, no matter how it botches things up. And with each life, this temporal self seems to be learning a little better how to be a better vehicle for the soul. What a great thing. It's working on it. So you continue your work knowing the personal self will probably never notice your presence within, and you can just do your work anonymously. You settle in for the ride while doing your spiritual work. And then just maybe you are pleasantly surprised when the personal self tries to seek you out. That's the best I can do, turning it around and looking from the opposite direction. Now let's talk about this awakening to your soul self. I obsessed on this for a while, quite a while. Soul awakening was my goal. Though along the way I discovered it was much more involved than I thought it would be, and much more intimidating. So, from the glimpses I've had, this is what I'm going to say. The first thing you need to understand is soul's perspective is eternal. Your personal self sees only in this 100 years. So what you see may not be terribly comforting. It may be totally disconcerting to your personal self. For soul, this is just one ride. There'll be many more. And soul projects are often exerted over 10,000 years. Personal self wants to see some results in less than 100. So when they say, no problem, we're on a 10,000-year trek, you go, come on now, I'm not going to get to see anything. And that may be true. Soul looks into eternity. So it doesn't really care who wins in the world that's passing you by today. It just doesn't care. It's kind of inconsequential. The stuff that is so absolutely consequential to us is relatively inconsequential if you're thinking in terms of 10,000 years. Earth-shattering experiences can be taken with a grain of salt because it's just passing. However, though this is the way soul sees, you are a little tiny piece of that soul in this outer self. And when we call to soul's attention, this temporal experience is causing us distress. What's going on right now in this little short time frame is causing me distress. Soul will generally go, oh, okay. It'll help, or at least respond in some way that will nurture you. May not be appropriate to change things, but at least it will nurture you. Remember, it said Jesus prayed, and after he was done, said, let this cup pass from me, et cetera, et cetera. It says, and an angel came and nurtured him. Okay? That may be all you get, but that may be all you need. We have a yearning for partnership with our soul. We know there's more to life than what we're doing in this outer realm. We have a yearning to be part of something greater than the outer role that we play in life. That is a yearning for soul awakening. And now I go to the other end of things and say, merging with your soul, awakening to your soul, is the path to eternal life. He who awakens to the eternal part of his being. I said, you got two parts, right? Part of it's going to disappear in 100 years. Part of it is forever. If we can begin to identify just a little bit with the eternal part of our being, then we will, and now I quote, you will not know death. The way you get out of the human version of death is to become aware in the part of you that doesn't die. If you can identify with the eternal part of your being, yeah, the personal self is still going to fall away, but you're going to walk totally conscious right out of this life into the next room. Okay, I told you I was going to skip around. Let's bounce around to another thing. I said that sometimes being able to see through soul's eyes is disconcerting. That was my experience in several cases. It's disconcerting because the timeline of soul is so different from the timeline of this personal self. So, another disconcerting aspect of the awakening to soul perspective is that soul carries its soul memories. And you got to figure out whether your personal self is ready to field that or not. Some people are born with an affinity for something that neither environment nor genealogy can explain. Others come in searching for something all of their lives. And there are yet others who have yearnings begin to surface as they move through life, and particularly as they begin to glimpse through soul's eyes. That was my thing. I've always had an affinity for something that archaeologists say doesn't even exist. An advanced society in the earth, 100,000 years ago? But through soul eyes, it became an absolute yearning. I've always had a feeling that I've been in the earth for a very, very, very long time. And I've never been able to figure out whether I'm just a really slow learner or whether I volunteered to stay, because it feels like my class went on without me, and I stayed behind. And the more I awaken to soul, the more I begin to see through what's in the center of me. For a while, those longings for the past became something I had to negotiate. I remember a civilization where we worked together, it's more the feelings than a visual memory. But a civilization where we worked together for the good of the whole, where there were harmony between people and we expressed a harmony with the natural world, where we shared mind and heart, which is why we didn't fight. If you're in somebody else's mind and heart, it's kind of hard to have violence between you. Where we shared a sense of oneness, and yet we were also taught to be strong individuals, and everyone was proud of the other's strength. I remember that harmony. And I started to seriously yearn for it. Now you say, well, archaeology says that didn't exist. I say, yeah, I agree. They seem to say it didn't exist. Though I got to tell you, in this day and age, there are new discoveries happening all the time, and every day it's like proving what archaeology thought probably is wrong. I suspect we are on the verge of learning that the world is no longer flat. But let's assume archaeology is right. Then I'm remembering something that was beyond the earth. But it came up as a yearning, and that became a problem. I was yearning to live in another time that no longer existed. And that's just downright counterproductive, because we're on this trip. This is why we're here. So, what's my suggestion? Personal self is often sheltered from what soul knows. So if you want to see through soul eyes, and I've walked that path a long time, only made little inroads, but I walked that path for a long time. If you want to see through soul eyes, you'll need to develop greater strength. It isn't all going to be a bowl of cherries, a bed of roses. It's going to awaken longings and things you didn't know you would have to negotiate. Now, I'm going to wrap it up so we can close it off. Paul in 1 Thessalonians 5:5 says, "You are all the children of light." Your soul is an eternal being of light. It presently resides within the physical frame of your human self. That's its vehicle. That's how it's going through the earth. But it is not of the earth. Your soul came here to shine light as it travels through the experience of darkness. Why does God let darkness happen? Well, you're part of taking care of that. It's just happening on a different time scale than we would like. Over time, the light it shines will eliminate the darkness. Your soul came here to help eliminate darkness. But remember, your soul is eternal, and it's content to exert a subtle influence over thousands of years. It knows the ultimate outcome has to be light dispels darkness. But it's patient. We, the outer beings, sometimes are not. The outer being lives and dies while the process is happening, and rarely sees the final results. Soul and personal self are on such different timelines. And if you're going to awaken to awareness of your soul, you're going to have to rectify that. Soul's purpose here is to shine light in the darkness. Therefore, the more we image spiritual light and the more we immerse ourselves in love, beauty, and joy which emanate from light, the more the personal self aligns itself with soul. Jesus taught that the heavens are our home. And when we die, we're going home. But he also taught that the kingdom of God is within you, and that you can live in the midst of home, in the midst of the higher realms, even while in this physical realm. Jesus essentially taught how to bring the kingdom of the heavens into the earth and not just wait for death. By lifting your awareness, you can discover the higher realms permeating Earth experience right now. So we tie it up. The more we immerse our consciousness in joy, beauty, and love, the more we experience the higher realms as home while living in the earth. Right here, right now. The more we touch love, beauty, and joy, the closer we come to soul awakening, touching the part of us that is eternal. And the experience of moving through this life as both a personal self and a soul aligned together is a whole different, more powerful, and more fulfilling way to travel this journey. One last statement. When you begin to know that you are here to serve the good of the whole, wherever you are, you're beginning to align with your soul. So let's close our eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath and sigh it out and move into your heart. And in your heart, call forth joy, the joy of life. In your heart, call forth love, the love of everything and everyone. And in your heart, cherish the beauty that you find in your life. I am a being of light. Image yourself as that ball of light that lives within and around your body. I am a being of light. I am not just this human being, though that's a small part of me. I am so much more. So reach towards the center of your being, the center of this ball of light, and try to feel the majesty within you. That which is in you is greater than that which is in the world. So here deep within, feel the majesty that is your soul. Ask this majesty, this soul within you. Ask it for help, to help you get through this life. Ask it to take command of your life, that you're ready to surrender your command of life to soul. And just as we've asked soul to help in your life, now humbly ask to help serve soul's purpose in whatever small way you can. Just let me be part of your great purpose in this life. Feel it. It will always be part of you. Feel that absolute harmony of the higher realms. And feel that harmony quietly channeling through you into the world. Shine the light of God's presence into the darkness you see in your world. Knowing that light always dispels darkness. There is no darkness that can stand up to light. And you are here, not to avoid the darkness, but to shine the light in the darkness as it presents itself to you. Now look out at your world with spiritual eyes and see the glory of God shining through everything in your world. Rest in the wonderful embrace of your soul. Rest in the glory of God's presence. And know, I am home. I am home. Thank you, God. Amen. And if our usher will come forward, we'll prepare for our offering. For those of you who are new online with us, we have to explain to you how you give your offering. Following the service, you go back to the homepage, unityorlando.org, and you can hit the Donate Now button, where you can use a credit card or PayPal. You can pull off our address and mail us a check. You can use Zelle, but if you do, you have to use our email address, which is unityorlando@gmail.com. Or if this is all confusing, call the office. She'll talk you through it. She hates it when I say that. But she will welcome your call. Whether you're here in person or out online, thank you for your offerings. Let's bless them together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. Thank you, God. Amen. All yours.
All right, thank you, Reverend Bob. And like many times when I sit down and write a song, I feel my soul, and it starts writing words. And this one came out just perfect for this talk, called Shine My Light. Grateful am I to wonder, abundance here to conjure, right here in my reality. All channels are open wide now, I'm in the flow of light now, my faith in all eternity. I shine my light, and all the darkness leaves us, I live in prosperity. I shine my light, Spirit lives and moves through me now, and all the world can sing with me. I shine my light. Grateful are we to wonder, all-knowing Spirit guidance right here in our reality. All channels are open wide now. We're in the flow of light now. Our faith in all eternity. I shine my light, and all the darkness leaves us. I live in prosperity. I shine my light, Spirit lives and moves through me now, and all the world can sing with me. I shine my light. When light seems to leave us and darkness overtakes us, doesn't seem a possibility. Our channels are open wide now. We're in the flow of light now, with our faith in all eternity. I shine my light, and all the darkness leaves us. I live in prosperity. I shine my light, Spirit lives and moves through me now, and all the world can sing with me. I shine my light. I shine my light, and all the darkness leaves us. I live in prosperity. I shine my light, Spirit lives and moves through me now, and all the world can sing with me. I shine my light. I shine my light. I shine my light. I shine my light.
Ah, you're right. That was the perfect way to end this service. Thank you all for coming this morning. Thank you for watching online. Where are we? Next Sunday, Growing Things in Your Life. That's the title. We're going to go back to normal Unity Fare. Growing Things in Your Life. And of course, if you're willing to come back following service in a little while, well, you saw how long this went. It'd probably be, we won't get out of here till 12:15, 12:30. But that's when we'll be having our potluck and annual meeting. So, all of you wonderful eternal souls who've come in to help lift the darkness, let's all rise and let's bless our world, the whole earth experience, with the prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. Have a wonderful